Now, Jeremy Perrot is the Global Creative Director for McCann Health and has been responsible for global campaigns to consumers and healthcare professionals for many big companies, including Pfizer, GSK and Merck. It's a fascinating new frontier in brand communication and comes with its own set of challenges, including tough, regulated markets. He was in South Africa last week and sat down with Mags on Media.
It's actually grown brilliantly through creative. When I joined, it was a creative medium that nobody wanted to go into. And I moved in from being on the FMCG side, and I knew exactly what I was walking into, but I had no idea the freedom that was available in there. Everyone talks about the constrictions and the restrictions and the complexity of the industry that we're working in, but all those things are challenges. And for creative people, they always want a challenge, and this thing's fraught with regulations. So the whole idea of creativity in this domain is really what the creative people are willing to make of it. Now, when you talk about creativity and the idea of bringing things alive, the first thing you'll see in some countries is, I can't do that. And if you look at the PI, the bits of copy off the basis of, or if you're in America, the 40 seconds they spend telling you why you shouldn't do something because it's just going to drop your leg off. All that is there to make sure that everybody has fair balance. But for the creative, for the industry, for me, it's a very, very rich domain to work in.
But surely there's a little bit more to it. I'm suggesting to you that every single project that you do is a little more nuanced than others because you're talking to a very specific and intelligent audience.
Very. And also, don't forget, you're talking to doctors, physicians, KOLs, key opinion leaders, etc. Those people are loaded with information, but they're never really spoken to in a way that the guy selling the Audi would sell them an Audi. So when we walk into their domain and we're talking about being creative, they're confused. But they do want creativity. And when it's given to them in a way they've never seen before and they understand what it is, and we deal directly with engagement, the last thing I want to do is give a guy or a doctor or a physician generic communication, print, a thing called a detail aid. These people need to be motivated and inspired, and they don't know what that means until someone walks into the room and says, how about that? And that's where the magic starts. Once you've got the mavericks seeing that and engaging with it, then they start to want more.
But different countries have different regulatory environments. I'm assuming that you can't have a creative solution which is a boilerplate one across the world. How difficult is the regulatory environment in healthcare advertising?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we maintain if it's evidence-based. You can sell a Band-Aid through FMCG and put a Disney character on it, great, fantastic. But if that Band-Aid has medicine inside it and it's evidence-based to cure, for example, we have a client that produces a Band-Aid with medication on it that produces a scarless tissue. Well, that's fantastic. I believe what you'll see in healthcare advertising and communication moving forward is more and more people wanting a healthcare specialist, communications partner, delivering their message to the consumer, because the consumer is becoming far more aware of what's in the product, what's in the brand, what the brand stands for, and they're demanding that knowledge. So when we talk about evidence-based, we're talking about something that actually happened and how we deliver that in a communication platform that's innovatively driven.
You're sitting against a backdrop of print work, Jeremy, but I'm also sensing that this is a medium that is ideally suited to greater digital execution. What are you doing in that respect?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because everyone uses the word digital. They don't quite know what it means. In fact, we just had a conference here, and one of our guest speakers, my challenge to him, who is our digital guru, is present without using the word digital. Technology is a tool. And as human beings, we tend to rely on the next thing that's the flavor of the month. But innovation and the use of technology is where we're sitting. Although that work behind me is print, it's representative of an idea that sits behind that print. In the old days, we'd say, here's a billboard, it's a keyframe for a commercial. Nowadays, we say, what's the engagement? How do I bring the consumer and the practitioner together? What's the technical way of doing that? I could talk about some pieces of work if you like, but primarily it's the innovation or the innovative use of technology that we focus on from our mobile camera, using that camera to photograph my bald head because I have alopecia and I don't want to go and see my doctor face to face, but I can have a digital relationship with him. That's exciting. Or speaking to a mother or a woman or a wife in the middle of, if you like, in the middle of the desert, who could be a Bedouin, with a mobile phone, using stick figure and hieroglyphics. That's amazing. That, to me, is a new frontier and a new domain, and that's intelligent communication.
Now, we gave this ad plenty of accolades a week or so ago. The Reader is a poignant and beautiful South African ad for Bell's whiskey that celebrates the persistence of spirit. The commercial portrays a fiercely determined older man successfully learning how to read, a goal he set himself and for those around him. The agency is King James in Cape Town. The production company is Velocity Films. Let's go behind the scenes.
All you have to do is switch on your radio or read a newspaper, and from time to time you'll always hear somebody use the phrase, "Give that man a bell."
Bell's whiskey is all about acknowledgement of the good guy. He's not necessarily the guy who gets the kudos, and he's not the guy who's on TV or who's winning awards for all his hard efforts.
The guys that do something without being asked or expecting anything in return, the guys who don't seek the limelight.
And if Bell's can be the platform for people to celebrate each other, I mean, I think that's amazing.
At times, it is very difficult for men to actually acknowledge and communicate their true feelings, when actually one has actually done like a great deed. And so, I think our tagline of "Give that man a bells" is just so fitting in terms of, from a guy to another guy, recognizing a deed that is, something that is noteworthy and something that is worth being celebrated.
So the first time I read the script, it resonated emotionally with me. We probably all know a guy like this who hasn't really had a proper education and has managed, all his way through life.
We don't always talk enough about the good stuff and what people do to make situations better, to make them great, to make life better for themselves and their families.
Having grown up in Soweto, for me, the story was, it just resonated with me in terms of, I know so many fathers, for example, who've given so much for their families and for their kids.
People have just made so many sacrifices to get me where I am, and family members. So it's deeply personal.
It's an honor working with the likes of King James and the creative team there, but also somebody like Greg Gray, who's known for his amazing work and his ability to really tell stories. And frankly, that's what's going to differentiate Bell's from any other brand. We're all about telling stories, but stories that are relevant for our good guys.
One of the things I really value with working with somebody like Brand House is that they have a very open, broad mind, and it's not done by a book. It's done from the heart, and I think that is what makes the difference.
And that is this week's programme. Next week, a special report on Design Indaba 2014. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
News that moves. ENCA.com.